I feel like I was always the best player. There was a string of probably 10 or 11 games where I made it to the final two every single time. And that's mainly tournament style. I also do cash games as well. And the difference between a cash game is every single chip directly correlates to dollar amounts, unlike tournaments where they just are kind of like placeholders. Cash games, I do make more than in tournaments. Tournaments, I guess, have larger prizes for the top slot, but there's more variance. I haven't really played so much recently because of the ongoing pandemic. I'm hopefully waiting on the casinos to reopen up their poker rooms. One of the best hands I have played in a cash game, we were doing 1-3 no limit, so the small blind is $1, the big blind is $3. My starting buy-in, which is the max, is $300. And this was on my cousin's birthday a few years ago, actually. I just wanted to play a little bit while they did their own thing. And this was probably 30 minutes into my session. I get dealt ace-10 of spades in position on the button. Position is one of the most important things about this game. There's one limper to me, which means he just calls the big blind, so I have a pretty good starting hand in position, so I decided to raise it up to, I believe, $10 or $15, and the guy in the small blind calls that, and the first limper ended up calling that as well. With this action, I'm pretty sure that I have the best hand starting out. If there was a hand better than mine, for instance, a big pocket pair or a better ace like ace-king, I probably would have been re-raised again pre-flop, but that didn't happen. So the flop comes ace, 4, 7 with 2 diamonds. Pretty safe flop for me, in my opinion. I got top pair. I got a pretty bad kicker, but I probably would have been re-raised by a better kicker pre-flop. It goes check, check to me, so I decided to do a continuation bet. I think I throw out 20, 25, 30 bucks. It was like, 1/3 of the size of the pot. I want to get called by worse. The small blind just decides to call my bet. And then the guy who originally limped pre-flop did a very interesting bet. He ended up raising me $250. This made no sense to me. This was a 5x raise, and I'm trying to think about what hands that he could have that had me beat. It's unlikely he has a better ace. He probably would not have limped that. He probably would have re-raised that pre-flop. Other hands that beat me, he could have maybe pocket 4s or pocket 7s for a flop set, 3 of a kind. That would have me absolutely crushed. But I was thinking this is very unlikely, because why would he raise 5x? I don't think... It just doesn't make any sense to me. This hand sounds like some kind of a bluff. Probably a straight draw or flush draw with 2 diamonds. That could definitely be reasonable. But I don't think he has me beat, because if you raise that big, you're not going to get called by a hand that is usually worse than yours. It just makes no sense. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't play it like that. So now I have to decide if I want to call half of my stack and most likely have to ship it all in on the turn, or should I just ship it all in? Because I'm never folding here. I decided to call because if he was bluffing, I want to give him that opportunity to bluff again on the next card. If I decide to ship it all in and he doesn't have better than a pair of aces or anything like that, he's not going to call. Calling half of your stack is not a good idea usually, but I felt like it was the best situation because more likely than not, all my money was going in the center of the pot at some point. So I decided to call. And then a small blind, who I'm paying no attention to because it just doesn't seem like he's involved in this hand, calls as well. So I'm even more confused. I was like, what does this guy have? Anyways, the turn is a offsuit 5, I believe. It's a pretty safe card. Diamonds don't get there as a flush. I'm still insanely confused about this. Small blind checks again, and then as you would probably expect, the guy who raised me 5x decides to ship it all in on the turn. I still don't think he has me beat. I'm pretty much priced in, and I don't like it, but I don't think there's any reason that I can fold this. I mean, he's telling a story, just doesn't make sense. I decided to call, and the small blind decides to call as well. So in my mind, I'm just like, I have to be beat here. Like, I don't think I made a mistake, but I have to be beat. The river comes a 10, so now I have top 2 pair. It kind of helps out, I guess. I mean, any other ace, I guess, first, this guy could have ace 4, ace 7. That's hands that I could be beat by. Now I beat those hands. I'm feeling pretty good about this. The small blind isn't happy. He's like, oh, I missed everything. I guess he had a combo draw. Makes sense. And the guy who originally was doing all this action, he shows me a 4 for a pair of 4s. So I turn over my ace 10. I guess a little surprised, but not really. And I take it down. I took down, at the time, my largest pot. It was a little bit over $1,000 off of that pot. And I tripled up. I was pretty happy. I played a few more hands, and I got out to go celebrate with my cousin for his birthday.